Father sells daughter to ruthless billionaire rancher to pay debt. She refuses to submit. Her father sold her to pay his debts to the most ruthless rancher in the territory. He's grumpy, crude, and expects her to be his obedient ranch wife. But she's got fire in her soul and refuses to break. When enemies become lovers, sparks fly hotter than a Texas summer. Hit like and subscribe for this enemies to lovers ranch romance that'll set your heart racing. Bella Carter knew her father was a gambling man. She just didn't know he'd gambled away her freedom. "You're going to marry Mason Hawthorne," her father announced over breakfast, not meeting her eyes. Bella set down her coffee carefully. "I'm sorry, what?" "Mason Hawthorne owns the Hawthorne Ranch. Biggest spread in 3 counties. You're marrying him next week." "Like hell I am." Her father finally looked at her. He looked old, worn, desperate. "Bella, I don't have a choice. I owe him $200,000, gambling debts. If I don't pay, he'll take the ranch. Everything. This is the only way." "So you're selling me?" Her voice was flat, cold. "I'm arranging a marriage. He wants a wife. I need to clear my debt. It solves both problems." "It solves your problems. What about mine?" "You'll be taken care of. Hawthorne's rich. You'll want for nothing. Accept my freedom. Accept my choice." Bella stood her chair, scraping violently. "I won't do it. You don't have a choice." "I'm 24 years old. I absolutely have a choice." Her father's face hardened. "If you don't marry him, I lose everything. The ranch your mother loved, the land she died on. Is that what you want, to dishonor her memory?" Low blow. Bella's mother had died 5 years ago. Cancer. The ranch was all she had left of her. "You're manipulating me." "I'm begging you." Her father's voice cracked. "Please, Bella, do this. For me, for your mother's memory. Mason agreed to clear the debt completely if you marry him." "What kind of man buys a wife?" "The kind who's too mean for anyone to marry him willingly." "Great, just great." Bella looked around the small ranch house, at the worn furniture her mother had loved, the photos on the walls, the land visible through the windows, land that had been in their family for 3 generations. She was trapped, and she knew it. "Fine," she said through clenched teeth. "I'll marry him. But tell Mr. Hawthorne something for me." "What?" "Tell him he might be buying a wife, but he's not buying an obedient one." Talking. Mason Hawthorne stood on his front porch watching the dust cloud approach. The Carter girl was arriving. The woman he'd essentially purchased to settle a debt. He felt like shit about it, but not enough to change his mind. Mason didn't need a wife. He was perfectly happy alone. Had been for 38 years. Women were complicated. Marriage was a trap. He'd avoided both successfully. But then Daniel Carter had come to him hat in hand, begging for more time to pay his gambling debts. Mason had been about to foreclose on the Carter ranch when Daniel made an offer. "I have a daughter, 24, smart, hardworking, beautiful. Marry her and I'll sign over my ranch to you outright. You'll own it all." Mason didn't need another ranch, but something about the offer intrigued him. A wife might be useful. Someone to cook, clean, manage the house while he worked. A business arrangement. Nothing more. "She agreed to this?" Mason had asked. "She will." Meaning she hadn't. Meaning this was Daniel's desperate idea. Mason should have said no. Should have just taken the ranch and been done with it. But he was curious about a woman who'd agree to marry a stranger to save her father. So he'd said yes. Now she was arriving, and Mason was second-guessing everything. The truck stopped. The passenger door opened. A woman climbed out. Mason's first thought, Daniel undersold her. Bella Carter wasn't beautiful. She was stunning. Long black hair, sharp cheekbones, eyes that blazed even from a distance. She wore jeans and a tank top that showed curves and muscle in equal measure. His second thought, she looks pissed. She stalked toward the porch, her father trailing behind, stopped at the bottom step and glared up at Mason. "You Mason Hawthorne." "I am. I'm Bella Carter, your bought and paid for wife." Her voice dripped venom. "Let's get something straight right now. My father might have sold me, but he doesn't own me. And neither do you. Got it?" Mason fought a smile. She had fire. He liked fire. "Got it. Good. Now show me where I'm sleeping, because this day's been shitty enough without small talk." She pushed past him into the house. Daniel stood on the drive, looking apologetic. "She's angry," he said unnecessarily. "I noticed." She'll come around. She's a good girl. I don't need her to be good. I need her to honor the agreement. She will. Daniel climbed back in his truck. The wedding's set for Saturday. Judge Miller will do it. Nothing fancy. He drove away, leaving Mason alone with his furious future bride. Inside, Bella was exploring the house. Mason's house was large 5 bedrooms, modern kitchen, sprawling living spaces. He'd built it himself over the years as the ranch prospered. "Which room is mine?" Bella asked without looking at him. "Upstairs, second door on the right. And yours?" "First door on the left." "Good, I want distance." She grabbed her 2 duffel bags and headed upstairs. Mason heard a door slam. Well, this was off to a great start. Jim. Dinner was tense. Mason had made steaks. He was a decent cook when he bothered. Bella sat across from him, eating mechanically, not speaking. "You're a good cook," Mason offered. "I didn't cook this. You did." "I mean in general. Your father said you were a good cook." "My father says a lot of things. Most of them are lies." Silence. "Bella, don't." She set down her fork. "Don't try to make small talk. Don't try to be friendly. You bought me. This is a business arrangement, Ed. Let's keep it that way." "Fair enough. After we're married, what do you expect from me? What are my duties as your wife?" She said the word like it tasted bad. Mason leaned back. "Help around the house, cooking, cleaning. I have ranch hands for the outdoor work, but domestic stuff needs handling. So I'm a maid. You're a partner in the household, not the business. And in the bedroom." Mason's jaw tightened. "What about it? Do you expect that?" Her cheeks were pink, but her eyes were defiant. "No, this is a business arrangement like you said. Separate rooms, no expectations." Something flickered in her expression. Relief or disappointment, Mason couldn't tell. "Good," she said. "Then we understand each other." "We do." They finished dinner in silence. Afterward, Bella washed dishes while Mason dried. Their arms brushed once and Bella jerked away like she'd been burned. "I'm going to bed," she announced. "What time do you need breakfast?" 5. "Jesus, fine, 5 a.m. breakfast." She headed for the stairs, then paused. "Mason." "Yeah, I don't blame you for this. I blame my father. But I'm going to make your life hell anyway, just so you know. Looking forward to it." She actually smiled, small and mean. "You shouldn't be." The rest of the week passed in Cold War. Bella cooked breakfast at 5, lunch at noon, dinner at 6. All of it was good, better than Mason's cooking by miles. But she served it with barely concealed hostility. She cleaned the house with aggressive efficiency. Mason would come in to find furniture, rearranged his papers, organized without permission, his routines disrupted. When he complained, she'd smile sweetly. "I'm just being a good wife." "You're being a pain in the ass." That too. The wedding day arrived. Judge Miller came to the ranch. Bella wore a simple blue dress. No white she'd refused. Mason wore a suit that felt too tight. They stood in the living room and repeated vows that meant nothing. "I do," Mason said. "Sure, why not?" Bella said. The judge looked uncomfortable, but pronounced them married anyway. No kiss, no celebration, just signatures on a marriage license and a tense dinner afterward. That night, Mason lay in bed listening to Bella move around in her room. The old house creaked. He heard water running, her door closing. He'd married a woman who hated him. This was definitely one of his stupider decisions. But damn if she wasn't interesting. 2 months into the marriage, something shifted. It started small. Bella made Mason's coffee exactly how he liked it without asking. Mason fixed the wobbly chair she'd complained about. They started talking during meals, not much, but more than hostile silence. One morning, Mason's prize horse got sick. Colic. Potentially fatal. He stayed up all night in the barn, walking the horse, dosing medicine, praying. At 2 a.m., Bella appeared with coffee and blankets. "Thought you might need these," Mason stared at her. "You didn't have to." "I know." She sat on a hay bale. "How's Thunder?" "Fighting. He's a tough, old bastard." "Like his owner." Mason almost smiled. "That a compliment? Don't let it go to your head." They sat together in the barn, talking quietly while Thunder slowly improved. By dawn, the horse was out of danger. Mason was exhausted and grateful. "Thank you," he said, "for staying." You love that horse. I couldn't let you suffer alone. It was the kindest thing she'd ever said to him. After that, the Cold War eased into cautious friendship. They started working together, Bella helping with ranch books, Mason teaching her to ride. They'd eat dinner and talk about their days. Mason learned about Bella's mother, about her dreams of being a veterinarian before money ran out, about how she'd given up everything to help her father keep the ranch only to have him throw it away gambling. Bella learned about Mason's childhood, about growing up poor, building his empire from nothing, about how he'd earned his grumpy reputation because people took kindness for weakness. "You're not actually that grumpy," Bella said one night. "I'm extremely grumpy. You're selective about who deserves your kindness. There's a difference." Mason looked at her across the dinner table. Really looked. When had she become beautiful? Had she always been, and he just hadn't noticed? "Bella, don't." She stood quickly. "Whatever you're about to say, don't." "Why not?" "Because this arrangement works when we keep our distance. If we cross that line," she trailed off. "What if I want to cross it?" "Then you're an idiot." But her voice was soft, uncertain. Mason stood, walked around the table, stood in front of her, close enough to touch, but not touching. "I'm probably an idiot," he admitted. "But Bella, somewhere along the way, you stopped being an obligation. You became someone I look forward to seeing, someone who makes this house feel like home." "Mason, don't do this." "Why not?" "Because I'm starting to care about you, and caring about you makes this whole situation more complicated." "What if I'm okay with complicated? Are you—" Mason cupped her face. Bella's breath hitched, but she didn't pull away. "I didn't want a wife," he said quietly. "I wanted a housekeeper with a marriage license. But you're not a housekeeper. You're stubborn and fierce, and you challenge me every damn day. And I'm falling for you. You can't fall for me. This was supposed to be business." Bit late for that. He kissed her, soft at first, testing. Bella melted into him, her hands fisting in his shirt. The kiss deepened, all the tension of 2 months exploding into desperate need. When they pulled apart, both breathing hard, Bella's eyes were bright. "This is a terrible idea," she whispered. "Probably. We're going to regret this." "Maybe. Do it again." He did. Life changed after that first kiss. Mason and Bella stopped pretending they were just business partners. They became a real couple, holding hands, stealing kisses, falling asleep on the couch together after long days. The sex, when it finally happened, was explosive. Two strong-willed people finally letting down their guards. It was passionate and argumentative and perfect. "You're still grumpy," Bella gasped one night, wrapped in Mason's arms. "And you're still a pain in my ass." "Good. I'd hate for us to get boring." But then Daniel showed up. Bella's father arrived unannounced, looking worse than ever. Thinner, desperate. "Bella, I need your help." "No," she crossed her arms. "Whatever it is, no. I'm in trouble. Real trouble. I owe money to some dangerous people. They're threatening to, then go to the police. I can't. Bella, please. You're my daughter. You have to help me. I have to. Like I had to marry a stranger because you gambled away everything." Bella's voice shook with rage. "You sold me, Dad. You literally sold me to pay your debts. And now you want more. Just ask Mason for money. He's loaded. He could help. Get out. Bella, get out." She turned to Mason, who'd been watching from the doorway. "Tell him to leave." Mason stepped forward. His voice was ice. "You heard her. Leave, now, and don't come back." Daniel left, but not before saying, "You'll regret this, Bella. When they come for me, it'll be on your conscience." After he left, Bella collapsed. Mason caught her, held her while she cried. "I'm so angry," she sobbed. "I'm so angry at him. But he's still my father. What if something happens to him? That's not your responsibility. He made his choices." "But no." Mason tilted her face up. "You're not responsible for him anymore. You're free of that. Don't let him drag you back." Bella knew he was right, but it still hurt. 2 weeks later, Daniel called. He'd gotten help from somewhere. Paid his debts. He didn't say how. Bella didn't ask. She focused on her life with Mason instead, on building something real from their forced beginning. One morning, Mason found her in the stable grooming Thunder. "I've been thinking," he said, Dangerous activity for you. Funny. He leaned against the stall. Our marriage started as a transaction, but it's not anymore. Not for me. Not for me either. So I want to do this right. He pulled out a ring. Simple, elegant, nothing like the plain band she wore now. Bella Carter Hawthorne, will you marry me for real this time? Not because of debt or obligation, but because I love you and I want to spend my life with you. Bella's eyes filled with tears. You love me. I love you, your fire, your strength, the way you refuse to be anything but yourself, all of it. I love you too, even though you are grumpy and stubborn and impossible. Is that a yes? It's a hell yes. He slipped the ring on her finger. They kissed in the stable surrounded by horses and hay and the smell of leather. They got married again 3 months later. A real wedding this time. Bella wore white. Mason cried. Their friends filled the ranch with joy and celebration. When the judge asked if Mason took Bella to be his wife, he said, I already did, but I'll say it again. I do. Forever. And Bella, who'd been sold like property, who'd been forced into a marriage she didn't want, looked at the grumpy cowboy who'd become her everything and said, I do too. Forever. Because sometimes love comes from the most unexpected places. Sometimes it comes from anger and resentment that transform into respect and desire. Sometimes the person who buys you is the same person who sets you free. Did their enemies to lovers' journey make your heart race like this video? Subscribe for more forced proximity romances. Comment Team Instant Love or Team Soul Slow Burn. Let us know. New story in 72 hours.